I, u. Re, ri, l, l, ayerlu. I, u. Re, ri, l, l, I, o, ow. Aha. Ka, g, g, nga. Ch, ch, j, j, nya. Ta, ta, da, da, na. Ta, ta, da, da, na. Pa, pa, da, da, ma, ma. Yara, lava. Sh, sh, sa, ha. I, u. Re, ri, le, le. I, o, ow, aha. Kakagagang. Ch, ch, j, j, nya. Ta, ta, da, da, na. Ta, ta, da, da, na. Pa, pa, ba, ba, ma. Yara, lava. Sha, sha, sa, ha. I, u. So it's a ring of sounds. That's its name. Varna. Varna. Mala. So mala means a necklace or a garland. And Varna means a letter or a tribe or individual thing. We're looking at Yoga Lab, and today we're going to practice the focal points. So find your partner, and one of you does Warrior One. Warrior One. And the teacher is going to come kneeling from the inside and use a fist at the area below the belly button. The student is making fists overhead and doing muscle energy toward this fist point. And the point is, we're teaching people, it's okay, Tracy, you can touch below the belly. The baby's there. You want to be inside, so scoot to your right, because you want to be able to easily reach in there with your left hand or your right hand, doesn't matter too much. So gather energy toward this point. That's the idea. Gather energy toward this point. Okay, and then you can change sides. And this time you can stand up. The student will put his or her hands on their own pubic bone sacrum, and you can come put your hands on top. You can always do that. You can always ask your student if you feel more comfortable that way. And now practice moving the pelvis. Notice tail down makes it immediately deeper if you're the student. Bend the front knee. Then the student can do cat-cow. So come to all fours. Now the focal point is the heart center. So your hand goes in line with the bottom tip of the shoulder blades. When they puff up, it'll be that high point. And when they come down, they'll be pinching your finger or your hand with their shoulder blades. Give them something to push into. The focal point is no pelvis. because we're weight bearing on the arms. Depends. In the moving poses, it's true that the focal points can sometimes move from one to the other. But here we are. And then they can do downward facing dog with their next exhale. And downward dog, you can come from the front and place your hand. Let them puff up into your hand. That way they know where to gather muscle energy toward, and they know where to lengthen from. So put your hand just behind the heart. Don't worry about the pelvis for now. It is not a wrong adjustment to touch the sacrum, but right now we are focusing on focal point. So when you feel that hand on your heart, and kneeling down on one knee or one foot is really the best. That way they can feel your stability. So they're really puffing up into that hand. Good. Then the student can do the spiral twist where they drop to their knees, pass their arm through. Can't touch that side, probably on cheekbone. And you it. And your back of your head is now the focal point. And the palate, back of the head, bring your awareness here. Good. Do the other side. Because when we weight bear on the head, which you will be doing in this pose, we want people to bring their awareness to the hard palate, back of the skull. And they get that because maybe they do thigh or something, right? In which case they need to know where their head is. That is focal points. We'll switch roles and now you can practice loops. So different student, we'll stay together. So just do one side, the ankle loop. Kneel down in front of your partner. You can just stand with your feet parallel and hip width. Some of you need to practice isolating your touch. So do not have extraneous touch. Only touch the loop. So the ankle loop builds the arches. It helps the person find the ball of the big toe and the ball of the pinky toe and either side of their heel. Then go up the calf, micro bend the knee. And it's not a big bend, it's just not a hyperextended bend. Down the shin. And then slide your way through the transverse ankle because you're reinforcing down through the ankle through to the heel. So the shin loop. The whole shin loop or calf loop. Then the thigh loop comes from the top of the kneecap up into the hip flexor. Your student at this point will flex at the hips. Down from the sitting bone, down the hamstring, the knee can bend. One more time, the thigh loop. And then, though it might be nerve-wracking, today try to find their pelvic loop without them helping you. I like to karate chop the belly because the pinky finger is not that sensitive feeling. And then use your palm on the sacrum. Then move their pelvis forward and back. And show the student what is tail down. Okay, they'll bow their chest, their arms will be in front of you. Okay, so dangle your arms if you're the student out in front. We're ready to, while they're in a bowed forward position, go up the lumbar spine. Work your way through the side ribs. Draw the front ribs in and go down the belly. Draw the pubic bone in. Then again, from the back body, it lengthens both side bodies, this loop. Then the next loop, they are in a forward curl. The back of their head initiates it. They pour themselves into their feet. I'll demonstrate here with Jenny. If I were to touch her, can you turn to face me? Go ahead and start in your forward curl shape. Knees are bent, elbows under, presses her head back. In the front body, it does lift the sternum. It does open the collarbones, okay, this loop. And it does bring the hard palate straight back. Keep your chin down. There you go. Okay. It brings the shoulders straight down toward the butt. So there is this lifting of the sternum, the opening of the collarbones, and it comes right through the hard palate, right through the jaw, the zygomatic arch to the back of the head. But sometimes, as Jenny was doing, they'll go too far, in which case the next loop comes from the back of the head up and over the skull and puts the cap back on. Then hard palate. That's the last loop, which the gentle touch is just to put your palm here. Some of you are putting it too far in front. It's not up here at the forehead. It's in line with the ears from the side. We're here today to look at belly back bends. So prone is one word. You can say it, prone. Or the more difficult, prostrate, which too easily turns into prostate. So, prone is the word that I should choose. I'm the most frequent offender. We're going to look at variations on cobra pose. So who would like to demonstrate cobra pose? Cobra pose is actually the most preferable one to do right now because it actually helps with digestion, whereas the other ones might be difficult. All right. Tracy, we can watch you do it. Simon, you also want to do? You can do right there. Go look at 2 cobra poses. Can you hold Simon's glasses for him, Lou? Sure. Because I generally don't, glasses wearers, I generally want you to not wear them when you do yoga. So don't do anything yet. Cobra pose, a lot of schools will teach with feet together, but we're teaching with the feet hip width apart. The next thing we're working on is, well, what kinds of cobra poses? Well, the first one we do is with no hands. And the reason we do it with no hands is because the most common thing with you with beginners is if they just push with their hands. You can do it, Simon. Just do a push up with your hands. Just push up all the way to straight arms. That's what we see. Okay, cobra pose. It's a break your lower back thing. Okay, so that's what we see. So instead, we're trying to teach people to use their back body. So we say no-handed cobra. So both of you stay right there. Commit to your feet being down and use your inhale to lift your hands and chest and forehead. Go back down with your exhale. Check back in with your legs. The inhale, you rise. The exhale, you go down and realign your legs. So that realigning of the legs would be inner thighs turn up and tailbone goes toward heel. Last one. I'm just watching 2 different cobra poses and go down. Let's stay on your forehead. Wide-legged cobra teaches a different thing in the lower back. Bring your feet wider than your mat, but turn so all the toes are on the ground, even the pinky toe. This also helps them learn what is lifting the inner thigh, because if they have to turn their foot so the pinky toe touches the ground, they have to spin their inner thigh up. Now also put your hands wider than your mat and a little bit in front of your shoulders. Stay there, exhale, start to pull forward up with your hands, inhale. Pause, exhale. Use the heel of your hand to pull you forward. Each breath, you get a little further up. This is really difficult if there's asymmetry, because when the legs are this wide and you're pulling up into a back bend, and there's any asymmetry, the person's like, wow, that doesn't feel good on my weak side. So that's why we teach Cobra with wide legs. Go all the way down. This time rest your head to the side. Bring your toes closer and your heels wider. Not everyone can get their toes to touch, so I just say toes closer, heels wider. Hands bounce, palms up. And you're just fully resting. We're doing a bunch of Cobra poses while we watch you. We're not going to teach those two versions right now, or you're not going to assist each other in those two versions. In the flow, those are both good versions that you might do as warm-ups, just to kind of teach people some basic principles around Cobra pose. At the beginning of class, they're just warming up. By the time we get to the floor back bends, people are warmed up, and at that point, we're doing a deep version of Cobra pose, and it's 10 full breaths. No? I have one bar, so. So this is increasing the key action. If I increase the key action, I need to make sure that I let them stabilize. Because he's moving in the pose, each exhale, I'm going to let him come down and stabilize. All right? So here I walk, 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 walk. He comes up. I stay there. Exhale. Tuck your chin a little. Tuck your chin a little. Because I know how to touch, I'm using my fingers inside the collarbones and using my thumb on the scapula. Last one. And down. Okay, so I've increased the key action, but I don't keep him up there, because if I kept him up there, he would struggle to breathe. So I let him go down, and then and what I'm using, if I demonstrate on April, her palms go out, her palms go down. And the reason we have students do palms down is because right away, as soon as they turn palms down, it puts their shoulder blades in such a place that it draws them onto the back body. Whereas when they're palms up, it lifts the medial aspect of the scapula. So this turns the medial aspect of the scapula onto the body, back body. So April starts to come up, and she's there. She exhales down a little. And so there's a way to hook my fingers under the collarbone on the chest muscles, because that's what's drawing open, right? This is spreading open. So if I were to paint on her, I would just be painting the chest muscles open, right? Painting the chest muscles open. On Lou, I actually grabbed his whole shoulder girdle and kind of cracked them open like that. So I used my thumbs on the shoulder blade. Okay? Last time. All right. So some of you are going to grab go down. Some of you are going to grab the joint capsule. You don't grab the joint capsule. You don't grab the humerus bone. This is the humerus bone. You grab the collarbone and the scapula. Okay? So the collarbones are sitting here. Clavicle is the name. On Lou, the clavicles are rotated forward and down and going toward each other. So I'm taking these clavicles and I'm rotating so that the bottom part of the clavicle turns up and they open away from each other. And because they're all connected, do you all understand that? Collarbones turn down, they're spinning down and pinning in. So I'm taking his clavicles and spinning them up and apart. So I'm thinking about the bones when I touch him. Since the scapula, the shoulder blade is the other side of that, I'm taking the scapula and I'm drawing them down toward the butt and into the midline. So my hands look like that. All right. It's, someone's really sweaty. It's not wrong to just put your hands there and slide across the collarbones if you know the student really well. It's a much easier assist to do on a man. All right. So you're going to now, since you already know how to stabilize the sacrum, you're going to see if you can actually help the student with her shoulder girdle. Okay? Even Nina, whose shoulders are incredibly open, will still enjoy it if you touch with awareness. Okay? Mm-hmm.
If someone's already pretty lumbar lordosis in their low back, do you just not go up as high, but you still just want to open up through their chest?
Yeah, so this is one of those discernment moments as a yoga teacher. There are a lot of people for whom, because you're about to increase the key action, they already have too much lower back curve. It's not a good idea. So if someone already has too much lower back curve, you tried to help them stabilize the sacrum, they still can't do it. You don't want to bring them higher in the pose because you know that they already tend to get like pinched in their lower back with all back bends. So that's a good point that Macy's raising. This is more for someone like Lou who his lower back doesn't have too much curve. He's mostly just has almost no awareness how to open and move his shoulders, although he's growing a lot. And with each day here, he's really getting more and more and more and more. So it is a discernment. And that's why the first class of yoga postures is always stabilize the base. But we just did that with Cobra pose. So now I'm giving you all, well, what if I wanted to increase the key action in the shoulders? Well, if it was appropriate, then you would practice doing this. And so now you do it. Okay? So go for it. We're just going to do like 8 to 10 breaths, but that might feel like a while. You two can do cat stretch, by the way. April and Lou, you can stretch your lower backs. So we're only doing the arms out like a wing version. Okay? Their arms go out like a wing. You can hold on a second there, Jenny. And these wings come backwards about, 60 to 45 to 60 degrees. Okay, somewhere in there. Depends on the person. Bring your hands further back, Michael, towards your feet. Step over your partner. Slide your feet inside near the armpits because you want to already be ready. Okay, go with them. Okay, and then they inhale, come up. Bend your knees. Okay, try to find your fingertips underneath the collarbones. Your thumbs on the shoulder blade. You're going to lift them with your finger claws while you're also pinching with your thumbs. Subin, put your hands wider and don't worry about your thumbs. Just use your hand claws. You might even use your whole palm. There you go. There you go. That's better, right, Michael? All right, put them all the way down the forehead. I think I was teaching something too hard, just based on what I'm watching. Okay, stay with me. Stay with me. Tracy and Sarah. I was trying something too hard. So instead, like I recommend for Subin, just go ahead and put your whole hand around on the front body and lift with your whole hand. Don't worry about the shoulder blades. Okay, now I'll try. Just drape your whole hand around to the front body. If you're working with a woman, don't touch the breasts. Just lift the chest. You can put your hands a little wider, Lou. Right there. Last 3. You're also bringing the shoulders a little wider as you do this. 2. Shoulders go a little wider and up and down. How was that for you all that received it? Progressively opened it up. That's what we want. Okay? So I was teaching something too hard. That happens a lot. Yeah. All right, try one more time. 1. We're just going to 5. 2. Yes, you can lift your legs. 3. Use the base of your palm. 4. Up and open. Down in cat stretch. Step out of the way. It's important that you let them lower with each exhale while you're doing that, right? That way they can reconnect. If their lower back was pinching, they get to readjust. Up and open.